Hello there and thanks for choosing RwandaTV News. We start with the headlines. The extraordinary summit of EAC heads of state on the security situation in the DRC that had been taking place in Burundi's capital city has been concluded with a number of resolutions. Also coming up, according to the Ministry of Health, 93% of teenagers have been vaccinated against cervical cancer. Thanks for choosing RwandaTV News. I am Isabel Masozera. Now top of our coverage, the extraordinary summit of EAC heads of state on the security situation in the DRC that had been taking place in Burundi's capital city have been concluded with a number of resolutions reached, including a call for both sides involved in that conflict to call for peace on all agreements to be respected to restore long-term peace in the eastern region of that country. Now, according to the Ministry of Health, 93% of the teenagers have been vaccinated against cervical cancer, but we'll get to that story in a heartbeat.
As the 20th Extraordinary Summit of EAC Heads of State came to a close, the Secretary-General of the community read an announcement on the resolutions reached in the presence of the leaders.
The summit directed all troops contributing countries to immediately deploy and urged the Democratic Republic of Congo to facilitate deployment of troops from the Republic of South Sudan, Republic of Uganda, Burundi to the East African Regional Force. And 7, the heads of state reiterated their decisions at the high-level consultative meetings held in different parts of the region, including Sharm el-Sheikh. 8, the summit noted with appreciation the financial contributions by the Republic of Kenya and the United Republic of Tanzania, and thank the Republic of Rwanda and the Republic of Uganda for their commitment to contribute to the East African Community Peace Facility Fund. 9, the heads of state called upon all parties to respect and implement decisions of the summit and obligations agreed upon in previous meetings of heads of state and other established instruments in the restoration of peace and security in Eastern DRC.
An appeal was also made directly to those involved in the conflict currently ongoing in the eastern DRC.
The summit reiterated its call to all parties to de-escalate tensions and to use established regional, continental, international mechanisms to resolve any disputes in the implementation of peace in eastern DRC. 11, the heads of state reiterated the need for implementation of the decisions and particularly the directives of the 22nd meeting of the Summit of the Heads of State on the security situation in Eastern DRC, directed all armed groups in Eastern DRC to embrace dialogue, lay down the arms and join the political process.
Among the leaders present during the summit was His Excellency President Paul Kagame, and the gathering was called for and hosted by His Excellency President Evariste Ndayishimiye of Burundi, the current chair of the East African Community. It comes at a time when the conflict between the M23 rebel group in the eastern DRC and that country's armed forces, FARDC, continues with no signs of letting up, as well as the disturbing recent decision of the DRC's authorities to deport 3 Rwandan officers who were stationed at the East African Regional Force headquarters in Goma. Following the summit, the heads of state of Rwanda and Burundi also met to discuss the bilateral relations that exist between their countries. The announcement issued after the summit also emphasized that the problem in the eastern DRC concerns the entire East African community, and a political solution is the answer, not violence, which is why peace talks should be given a priority, something the government of the DRC has unfortunately continued not to do, and instead opt to continuously blame Rwanda for problems in its own country.
Now, according to the Ministry of Health, 93% of teenagers have been vaccinated against cervical cancer. Now, the ministry points out that there's hope that it can be completely eradicated by 2030.
Musoni Jacqueline lives in Nyarugunga sector in Kigali city. She says that she found out that she was suffering from breast cancer in 2019 and she immediately started treatment until she was cured. I had surgery and after that they sent me to Utaro, and then in Utaro I immediately started the treatment and now I'm healthy and strong. World Cancer Day is observed on March 4th every year. The goal for this year is to eliminate cervical cancer. Breast and cervical cancer are the most common cancers in women, according to the Rwanda Biomedical Center. According to Cecilia Wilkstrom, chairperson of the board of directors of Electa Foundation, an organization that specializes in improving access to cancer care, Rwanda has made strides in the fight against cancer, particularly in terms of how it reaches people in rural areas.
What has impressed me in this country, where we in Europe would have a lot to learn, is that it's a community approach. So the workers working for the health post up there in Gicumbi, so many of them, they are standing by the side of the woman from the first moment till the end, throughout the process. And that's a society for family health. And I think they are really the heroes. There are so many things that you should export to other parts of the world. This is being one of them. So that one woman is suffering, there are people supporting her from all sides.
Currently in Rwanda, 93% of adolescent girls aged 12 years have been vaccinated against cervical cancer. According to Dr. Sabin Sanzimana, the Minister of Health, the goal of eliminating cervical cancer will be achieved.
And cervical cancer has been a focus because we believe that we have tools that can even eliminate cervical cancer. We have HPV vaccine. You know that this cancer comes for most people have been affected by this human papilloma virus, and because we have also the tools to detect pre-cancer lesions very early and even treat cancer lesions when they are not advanced stage, we can manage. We have also advanced equipment in Rwanda, such as radiotherapy options and surgery in our referral hospitals. So cervical cancer really is one of the cancers that we can believe very soon can be eliminated. And we have seen some good progress here in Rwanda. And we want to build on that, accelerate that, save many lives as we can in Rwanda, but also be an example that it can be done in other countries.
In Rwanda, every year, 5,000 people are diagnosed with cancer. Last year, there were 650 breast cancer patients, while there were 617 cervical cancer patients. On this International Cancer Day, the problem of low income for poor families is still highlighted as one of the challenges that contribute to cancer fatalities. Olive Nete, RwandaTV News.
Thank you, Olive. Now, women who suffer from fistula as a result of maternal complications have been urged to seek professional help because the disease can be cured.
In some of the hospitals in the Kigali city, there's an ongoing consultation of women who had injuries onto their private parts while giving birth that resulted into fistula.
In my sickness, I was not able to do anything on my own due to how water always dripped out of me. I had fistula for 15 years. I got the condition while giving birth to my firstborn, who died later on. It is like a non-stop urination, and I used to find ways to stop it. I wore diapers, and they would get wet in like 30 minutes. It would stress me out, and I would cry like a little baby, and my husband divorced me.
Some of these patients believed fistula to be a chronic disease, but they learned that it is not the case.
They took care of us and we went through surgery. Now I'm feeling better and I believe that I will heal because now I'm using the toilet normally.
Dr. Victorien Ndacyayisenga, a gynecologist at Rakwadi Seed Hospital, elaborates on the causes of the fistula disease. It was usually found on those that give birth in homes or when it is time to deliver and the parent is not rapidly assisted, and the baby's head tightly stuck in the thighs. And as you know, bones of both the head and thighs are strong, so the muscles are squeezed and the blood flow is stopped, and that exact part is damaged and the hole is placed inside, hence the disease. It also happens when a child is delivered at a higher speed and damages the placenta and damages different organs, or also on the urine and defecation ways. The fistula patients are urged to not stay depressed in their homes, as explained by Dr. Gilbert Uwitonze, a gynecologist at Kibagabaga Hospital. I can say to fistula patients that it is a disease that can be cured. So I urge them to consult doctors, and for the pregnant women to always think of giving birth at hospitals. And if normal delivery is not possible, they use the cesarean, because if all of these are well performed, chances of contacting fistula are deducted. Barbara Morganis, who is leading a delegation of doctors from the United Kingdom, were in Rwanda to support in curing the fistula disease, urges pregnant women to comply and follow doctors' advices.
The women that are pregnant must go to their health centers for checkups. The government allows a certain amount of checkups during the pregnancy, a certain amount of ultrasound during the pregnancy, and get to the health center. If there is any problem during pregnancy, they must tell the people at the health center, and they'll send them to a hospital, to the district hospital, where if there's a problem for birthing, the doctor will take care of that. Okay, that's very important. They must go for their checkups.
As the fistula patients are being treated, doctors also say that the numbers of these patients continue to decrease thanks to the country's program of following up on pregnant women, from the pregnancy awareness until delivery, and specifically giving birth at the hospital. Prince Manzi, RwandaTV News.
Thank you, Prince. Now moving on, Rulindo District Administration encourages its residents and other citizens to put more effort into livestock farming to obtain enough production needed by various industries under the Uributso enterprise. Now, meanwhile, the founder of that enterprise, Sena Gerald, was given an honorary doctorate degree by a Mexican university.
Nyirangarama is a well-known place by people moving from and to the northern and western part of the country. Some of the passengers say that this enterprise helps them in their journey. Because most of the time in the journey, we need something to eat and drink for the body to rest. This enterprise is very necessary, and if it was possible, we would like such entities on different roads across the country. Apart from being a food processing enterprise that benefits the farmers, Urwibutso Enterprise also built a school, and it is providing agricultural and livestock skills. The Vice Mayor of Rulindo District in charge of economic affairs, Antoine Mutsinzi, urges residents to invest in this sector as it has a market. It means a lot in the country's economy, and Rulindo specifically, because he has more than 500 workers. That is why we urge residents to invest, because sometimes you find that we don't meet his requirements and needs to import. The Urwibutso Enterprise activities and products were known globally, and Sena Gerard, the founder, was awarded the honorary degree as Doctor of Advanced Studies in Entrepreneurship by the Azteca University, Mexico. Professor Vincent Sinining of the Azteca University states that this honorary degree was provided because of different beneficial activities of this enterprise to the citizens.
Upon learning Sena Gerard's story, achievements, and success in his contribution to the socio-economic development of Rwanda, I immediately recommended to Ernest that Sena deserved to be awarded the Distinguished Honorary Doctorate of Philosophy in Advanced Studies. Through the facilitation of Intake Group Limited hesitation, this distinguished award. This is the same award given to our President Kagame in the United States and Bill Gates also in the United States, for their outstanding contributions in life.
The Archbishop of Kigali, His Eminence Antoine Kambanda, who presided over the Eucharistic Mass that kicked off the celebration of such achievement, urged the youth to have a vision of innovating things that benefit the society as well as solving current issues.
We
are here to thank God because of the gift given to our brethren due to his innovation that he also teaches to the young ones. The youth are to be taught about innovation and creativity so that they benefit others. When one is self-centered, he does not develop. The founder of Rwibutso Enterprise, Sina Gerard, reveals that he will not stop to have new innovations every year. I still have a long way to go. Compared to the country's economy, the enterprise economy and vision, I still have a goal that every year there will be new product on the market, either Rwandan or international market. I still have the energy and the skills. The founder of Rwibutso Enterprise also authored a book that tackles on his journey as an entrepreneur since 1980. This book is in 4 languages: Kinyarwanda, French, English, and Swahili. Prince Manzi, RwandaTV News.
Now, while non-communicable diseases remain a threat to a big number of people worldwide, experts in health say that, well, they can be prevented and treated if diagnosed early. Now, according to the World Health Organization, non-communicable diseases kill 41 million people every year, equivalent to 74% of all deaths globally. They include hypertension, which has adverse effects on human health. Now, in a more detailed interview, Dr. Gashema, a gynecologist at Rwanda Military Hospital, explains the effects that it can have during pregnancy.
Welcome to the health segment where we talk about various health-related matters. Today we are going to talk about hypertension, but mainly in pregnancy. And today I'm joined with a guest, Dr. Gashema, but he's going to introduce himself more, and then we are going to receive him. Welcome, Dr. Gashema.
Thank you. Dr. Gashema Eritier, a gynecologist obstetrician with subspecialty in high-risk pregnancies.
So going more into gestational hypertension or hypertension during pregnancy, what is gestational hypertension?
Gestational hypertension is hypertension, high blood pressure that comes after 20 weeks of pregnancy, and the BP should be above 140/90, and should not be presence of protein in the urine at a given amount, and there should not be a problem of organ damage.
When someone listens to such explanations, he or she can think about what is the cause of gestational hypertension, what does it come from, what does it result from?
So the causes till now, unfortunately, the causes is not known. But we know the risk factors. Someone who had previous pregnancy with gestational hypertension, or who had preeclampsia, and those who have chronic hypertension have the risk of having this pregnancy-induced hypertension. And those who have multiple pregnancies, like twins, triplets, quadruplets, have high risk of having hypertension during pregnancy. Those with diabetes in pregnancy have the risk of having hypertension. And those with autoimmune diseases, like systemic lupus erythematosus, are those who have high risk of developing hypertension. And the BMI, those with high BMI, which is above 30-35, they have a risk of having hypertension during the pregnancy.
While you were mentioning the risk factors, you pointed out something, preeclampsia, but we also hear of a term called eclampsia. What is preeclampsia and what is eclampsia in general?
Preeclampsia is also high blood pressure in pregnancy, but associated with loss of protein in the urine. And this preeclampsia, thank you for raising it, and people should know about it because in developing countries, it's one of the leading causes in like top 3 causes of maternal death and causes of prematurity. And we know also in neonatology, prematurity is the leading cause of neonatal death. You may have organ damage like brain, kidneys, livers, and when these are damaged, still you can call it, with association with high blood pressure, you can call it preeclampsia. Eclampsia also it's a complication of preeclampsia. It's when a woman who had preeclampsia starts to have seizures. Seizures, at this point we call it eclampsia.
We are speaking about the mother, but what about the baby? Doesn't the baby get affected during those kind of changes that happen into the body of the mother? Doesn't it affect the baby?
Thank you. It does. As we defined hypertension, as there is a resistance of blood flow to different organs, the uterus is not spared too. When a woman has preeclampsia, there is hyperperfusion of blood and other nutrients to the uterus, and this will lead to hyperperfusion of the placenta. And when the placenta is not well perfused, and the baby will not get what all necessities that the baby was supposed to get. So at this will result in growth restriction. The baby will not grow well. And this condition, preeclampsia, as also it is a progressive disease. With time, this progress, and this may lead even to fetal demise. With this progression of the diseases, at some point we may decide to deliver the baby based on the status of the baby or the status of the mother. If the mother is critically ill, the kidney are affected, liver affected, or this eclampsia, sometimes we decide to deliver so that the mother may get well. But also the baby might be in danger too. Sometimes also we may decide to deliver because the baby is in danger. So one of the signs that a woman might have, but sometimes they say hypertension is silent killer. But at some point, a woman may start to have swelling all over the body. And when he have, but in normal pregnancies, sometimes the women may have a swollen leg, so it's sometimes normal, but it's always better to check the blood pressure. Other thing is a headache, a severe headache, which might not be responding on paracetamol. If a woman is pregnant and having severe headache, which is not responding to paracetamol, it's better to consult a doctor and check the blood pressure. They may have epigastric pain, which is not responding on antacid, like antacid. At that time, the liver might be affected. So it's when you have those signs, it's better to consult for a doctor.
What is your advice to pregnant women or people who prepare to conceive so that they can prevent such incidents or such conditions from happening?
What I would recommend to women is to come to see a doctor when they are planning to get pregnant, so that those risks can be identified and explained to the women, and they have to understand the conditions that they might have and the way that this can be prevented.
So that is it. You heard more details about gestational hypertension and how it can be prevented. Consult your doctor for more information to help you during pregnancy and so that you can deliver your baby well. Thank you for following. Olive Nete, RwandaTV News.
Thank you, Ole, for that informative report. Now, moving on, some students studying at St. Ignatius High School say that reading books about the history of Rwanda helps them stay interested in what will make Rwandans live in peace. They concluded so after reading a book about the history of the genocide against the Tutsi in former Murambi.
Although we have many differences, we should all be united as one because we are Rwandans, and that we should all respect each other and know that humanity is knowing the value of one another and knowing that even though we are different, we shouldn't underestimate each other and step on each other's head because we are all capable, and that our differences must be our strength to help share ideas, and that even though our history is dark, we are the one in charge of our future.
The manager of the bookstore says that they are giving these books to schools for free so that young people can learn good reading and writing skills.
Actually, first of all, it's our history. So I think it's very good that our young people, they have to know our history first before going to know the other countries' history. Providing like free books to the student so they can have this culture of reading book when they are still young, because it will be very easy to the writers when they are publishing their books. They can be sold very easy when we have students who have this culture of reading book.
Thanks for your company. Always a pleasure bringing you the latest. We hope we earn the pleasure of your time. I'm Isabel Masozera. Thanks for watching.